for everything.
Welcome into a live edition of the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank, member FDIC, our amazing partners in Possible here at KC Sports Network. I am very excited because Tucker's not producing tonight. That's not why I'm excited.
Is he okay, by the way? Have we seen Tucker?
Tucker's great. Tucker's in Florida.
I was worried about him last time. He was
Tuck's out here
Tucker
in Florida right now.
Tucker made it to Florida on like 90 minutes of sleep. So, yes. You know what I mean? Like doing okay is correct. Doing good, I don't know. I don't know how well you do going into Florida on only 90 minutes of sleep.
Yeah, that's tough.
Here's why I'm excited, though, because our pal Nick Springer's producing, and our pal Nick Springer did not get the memo that Wednesdays are no longer Matter Days. And so we're getting a bonus one. I would like to welcome everyone in to a Matter Day. Matt Swanson here with Matt Hamilton and Matt Lane celebrating a pick from a pick six thrown by Matthew Stafford just now to put the Atlanta Falcons up 14-0. These are the
Top
things that we
pick.
celebrate.
Here we go.
When you're 6-9 or 6-10.
Wait a second.
These are the things you celebrate because the outlook for the Chiefs draft pick changes significantly if the Falcons are able to hold this 14-point lead.
Listen, I do not want to jinx this, but you and I, Kit, had a non-public conversation last week where I said, hey, by the way, the 8th pick's possible. The 9th pick's like really realistic if just these few things happen. And it was Miami beating the Bucks and the Falcons winning this game. And you put your foot down and said, no chance in hell either of those are happening.
And
here we go.
And they might.
This crazy NFL season, a few more twists, and a few that actually go the Chiefs' way this time.
Yeah, no, hey, look, the things are really going well in Kansas City right now, guys. Other than missing the playoffs, having to watch Denver celebrate the AFC West, Mahomes' injury. Other than all that, like, man, things could not be any better right now. So, but yeah, there's the chance that I'm going to be doing playoff predictors while someone else talks, I'm sure, at this point, because I am going to have to be paying attention to what it really would look like if this happens. But there's great news off the rip on the KZ Laboratory. Maddie Lane, other than watching Stafford throw that pick, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling muted. I'm feeling pretty good. We're getting through some holidays here. We got right around the corner. We got the big bowl games. So that's always exciting. We are deep in draft work right now. Right. That has been the one slight bonus to the Chiefs season ending early. And I don't mean like I'm happy they lost. I just mean the fact that it essentially ended weeks ago now. It's a nice little jump on some draft stuff. So it's not going to feel quite as crammed and rushed getting everything ready for us to go down to Dallas in the East-West Shrine game to get the KCSN draft guide going. So you know what? Like we've come to terms that this year just wasn't the Chiefs' year, that they need to make some sweeping changes. Excited to talk about some of those potential options here in a little bit and really get my mind turned towards college football and the playoffs and the draft coming up right after that. So it's been a good time. I'm excited to be joined by Hamilton. I love Hammy coming in here with not being as locked into the Chiefs only as we are all the time, covering the entire NFL. So I love getting his insights on this kind of stuff. But also I feel bad that he had to watch that game on Christmas and ignore his family like we did.
Yeah, I mean, some sacrifices you got to make. That game wasn't going to watch itself, But yeah, I'm always happy to be here with you guys, and also, yeah, nice of the Chargers to just hand the Broncos the 1 seed too in Week 18. What a gift. That's yeah.
I've done the quick math, folks. if the Chiefs
Here we go.
lose, the pretty good chance that they are picking eighth, especially if the Saints beat the Falcons the next week. If they win, they still pick 11th. This game may not even matter to the outlook unless the Chiefs lose this game. They
It
could
gives
fly.
something to be excited about for the first time in a long time. So that's going to be fascinating to see who can just out lose the other in that Raiders game. That is going to be.
It's the Raiders. It is. I mean, they're picking between Aiden O'Connell and Kenny Pickett. So no, I do think it's. I still think it's the Raiders.
Are we pretending that the Chiefs aren't on their third string quarterback right now?
I understand, but Chris Oladokun better than Aiden O'Connell, and better than Aiden O'Connell in this offense.
Boy, that's a statement.
I think. Well, and it's the body of work around it too, like everything else around them. I don't think that what the Raiders have. They don't have
like what the Chiefs have.
They don't have Jacob, but they still have Kelsey. They still have Rashee Rice.
Kenny Pickett's putting on his audition.
Rashee Rice ain't playing.
Yeah,
Rashee Rice ain't trotting out there.
It's true.
You got.
I don't know.
Kenny Pickett's not worried about tanking. He's fighting for a spot in this league. Like he's gonna
listen. I've never seen Chris Oladokun, throw dimes over a stack of pancakes in a Vegas restaurant. So
that's true. Hamilton. Have you seen the line on Chiefs? Have you seen the line on Chiefs Raiders?
I have not. I've been afraid to look.
Guess it.
Chiefs 1.5.
Chiefs -6.
-6.
Minus.
Can they score 6 points?
I mean, it's a legitimate question, but they did last week.
Yeah.
I think the line of thinking is Andy can get him. Andy can at least get him to, Andy at least can get him into field goal range. And the
Raiders are going to be trying so hard actively to lose this game.
Oh,
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, Geno's. I'm not going to question whether Geno could have played or not. But yeah, I mean, the door's open.
You get the number one pick and alienate your best player in the process. What a way to do it.
That checks out, right? I mean, that's a pretty Raiders thing to do. But I don't know. If the Chiefs can somehow pull that off, it's impressive. If they can pull that loss off.
Be the most impressive loss in NFL history. I gotta say,
it's gonna take a lot of work. It's gonna take a lot of work to pull that one off.
The most hard fought loss, impressive loss of all time.
It could though. This could really. I mean, if the the Rams are already like on the goal line, but so it's about to be 14. It's about to be 14-7. But if the Rams hold on to this one, and beat the Saints next week, the Chiefs could win and still pick 10th, which would be a nice consolation. Oh, it was holding or illegal formation. We're good. We should just live watch. Honestly, we should live watch. I'm more interested in live watching Monday Night Football.
For draft position,
than I am talking about week 17 thoughts, but that's what we're gonna get into because there's been we haven't heard from. I don't think we've heard from a ton from Matt. I guess we did we heard from Matty on Friday. He didn't do the post game show. Hamilton, we haven't heard from you about the week 17 game, Chiefs versus Broncos. What were your thoughts watching every single minute of that game intently?
Do I have to?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. There's nothing. I don't know that there's anything to be taken away from that. To be honest, it's hard. with this stage of this team's at. I mean, I guess it's good to see that there was some fight in there. They didn't make it easy for the Bronco. They made them battle to the very end. Um, so that's something. Um, I liked seeing that moment with Kelsey and Bo Nix today. I thought that was, and Kelsey's exit off the field maybe for the last time at Arrowhead was kind of a cool moment and made it sink in a little bit. That he might be preparing for life after Travis Kelsey this offseason, which, you know, again, whatever else people want to say, the guy was led all AFC tight ends in receiving yards this year. He's still a very productive player, even if he isn't what he once was. So, um, I guess that's kind of where my mind went with this one. Seeing that walk off, having those thoughts that maybe this is the last time we see him play in that building, which is, a little heavy to think about on this matter day, but definitely at the forefront of my mind as this off season approaches.
Yeah, I think that's something for me that the way as disappointing as this year is ending, I don't think that Travis Kelsey is getting quite the send off that he probably deserves. And I think there are plenty of fans and people out there that are recognizing if this is the end of what it could be and basking in the moment. But I also think that there's such a staleness and such just like a void around what the Chiefs are doing right now because there is no longer any hope. And it's not even that there's not any hope. It's you're not getting to watch Mahomes. You're clearly watching a team that is kind of throwing in the towel now that knows they don't have it this year, but you also have Travis Kelsey. So it does seem like it's sucking a little bit of the energy out of what could be this kind of final stretch for him, which is unfortunate. And I do think people will look back on it a little more fondly, but man, it's really hard when you go into a game knowing there's nothing the team can do to even try to highlight the fact that he's on the field. That's a tough beat. That's a tough beat. They can't even get him a couple targets when they need to, when they're trying to go win a game or trying to, do something. So yeah, that part I do think will settle in a little bit later. And I think this final game of the year, it sounds like he is going to play here against the Raiders. I really do want to try to keep that in the back of my mind going into it and not just focus entirely on the team trying to lose. But that's something that it hasn't sunk into me quite as much as I think it will whenever we do finally get the announcement.
It sunk in pretty good to me watching the game. And I will tell you, reading some stuff on social media, it seems like a lot of people outside of Kansas City were quite irritated with how much Amazon was focusing on Travis Kelsey during that game. Like, what else is there to focus on?
The Broncos also played like ass. So there's nothing to focus on there either. Ooh, the defense shut down Chris Oludokin and whatever, and Isaiah Pacheco. Ooh.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, there was I said it in the post game, and I think you nailed a few of the things. Hammy, there was a very I was way more emotional for that game than I thought I was gonna be because of all the news with the stadium. Because of some of the overhead shots at Arrowhead that night were just pristine. And then all of the Travis, I think reality setting in a little bit for Travis. But I think the other thing, I was really that team played hard. That team played really hard, which is why they're 6-point favorites over the Las Vegas Raiders this week. Because they really did play hard in that game. They put a great effort forth. And then it was an effort that we didn't see in Tennessee. We kind of joked hey, we're going to let the whole just buy the team out a night out on Broadway before the game. They played like it. This week they didn't. This week they really did, 4 days later, they looked absolutely locked in. And it's I give a ton of credit to the Chiefs for doing that in that game. Any other thoughts?
I mean, they played harder than probably the Chargers. They're going to play the Broncos next week, so that's something. I don't know. Sorry, seeing that news today, I just don't you want that 5 seed if you're the Chargers? Doesn't it matter at all? You're just going to hand the 1 seed to a rival in your division when you have something to play for. I don't know. It was just I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way seeing that. I get it. Especially given their situation with that offensive line and Justin Herbert and the beating he's taken this year. I do get it from that perspective. But if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, give yourself the best path, right? Like get that AFC North winner in the wild card round. And who knows with how weird this AFC is, like you could potentially, if you're able to win a couple games, you could potentially get a home game in the AFC Championship. And like again, I know as far-fetched as that might sound, like you still have to play out those possibilities. Like they're not going as this. It's hard for me to imagine that team as they're currently constructed as a 7th seed doing anything. So I don't know. What are we doing here? So if Herbert gets hurt while you're going for it for a better seed, like all right, you weren't going to win anyway as the 7th seed. The way you're constructed. So I don't know. I don't. It rubbed me the wrong way saying that from the Chargers today. I get it. I get the logic, but give yourself the best position.
I don't even know. Is there a good logic to it? Like, aren't they essentially just saying like, "Oh, we're okay going on the road to play the New England Patriots," right? Like that's essentially the decision that they're making. Is like we are okay. Now, it could theoretically still be the Jags, and they could have to travel there too instead, I guess. But like the most likely
the Jags beat the
scenario
crap
is,
out of them this year.
Yeah, most likely scenario is they're going on the road to play the New England Patriots. Like, how is that? How is that like better than trying to beat the Denver Broncos one last time to not only get the 5 seed and potentially play an AFC North team, but also like and knock a divisional opponent? A very interesting decision, full of a bunch of powder blue wearing soft players that are afraid to compete.
The funny thing is,
you always have to take it that next notch, Maddie, and that's why we love you.
Struggles, powder blue Chargers. I'll be honest with you.
Afraid to compete. Yeah.
Scared to compete. Not after the whistle, though. They're not scared to compete after the whistle, but
there's
the helmet's not powder blue, so they'll use that as a weapon all they want.
I don't know if I without knowing how severe the injury is, Herbert looked beat up against the Texans this week, and like if it's that bad, I get what they're doing. They're limping into the playoffs as it is. And like, wait, so the 4 seed, like, okay, so 3-6, they might be having to play Houston again.
Yeah, it's gonna be Houston, Jacksonville, or New England. Oof. And again, we saw what Houston did to them. Jacksonville beat the crap out of them. We haven't seen them play the Patriots yet, but going into New England, the way they look right now, I don't know. As opposed to maybe getting the Steelers, like
I get what they're doing. I'll be honest with you. I get it. I get what they're doing with Herbo.
So I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. Yeah.
I get it. I'm not ready to call them soft for that. Maybe for other things. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Heather Luce, broker owner, KC Local Homes, and Emprise Bank has been a great partner for us. They're our partner in Possible. Debbie and I hit it off immediately, and she was one of the first bankers that I would say sat down with me and actually like genuinely cared about my story and where I was coming from and what I was trying to do, not just what kind of loan do you need, how much equity do you have, and she really kind of laid out my options for me and just made the process make sense, and I felt comfortable with it. Start to talk about it and think about it, a building popped up that I wanted, that I could afford, and it was in a great area. And so they really guided me through the SBA. I used the SBA loan to acquire it and really guided me through that process and made it happen. I think that we talk about that a lot, where we wouldn't have a business. We wouldn't have what we have here if we didn't have the clientele that we do. I've always functioned out of a people over profits mentality. The houses sell themselves, right? Like I'm here to help people and facilitate the transaction for them.
Missouri, your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in your state. Now you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. Missouri fans know game day. The tailgates, the noise, the passion. Now with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every snap, every touchdown, every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense. just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KCSN. New Missouri customers bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code KCSN. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Thanks everyone hanging out with us on a Matter Day, a bonus Matter Day. We always appreciate you. I'm actually, you're noticing the backdrops a little bit. I'm actually in the Eastern time zone with these two guys. So like I'm in Ohio. We go here every Christmas. And we're Matthew Stafford just threw another pick, by the way. 14-0 Falcons, and they're going to have the ball with a minute and a half, potentially for the rest of the half. Good news. Okay, so we threw out the idea. Oh, Hammy's back.
Something's going on here. You also sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks right now to me, Kent. So I don't know what's happening.
Well, I pulled the impression out. Started singing Christmas Time is Here. But are you good now?
You still sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks. I might have to jump out and jump back in.
Do I also sound like one of the Chipmunks?
Yes, you do.
He sounds like
Then
Theodore.
You might,
I wish I could record this and play it back for you guys right now.
I really do too. Oh my gosh. Bijan's going 87 yards for a touchdown.
Wow.
I'm not even
happening right now.
He just went 93. It's like 93 yards.
That's crazy. Whoever had Bijan Robinson in our fantasy league's probably winning the championship right now, right?
Yeah.
Especially because they also had Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And Drake May.
Yeah.
They're probably definitely winning the championship, right?
They're having a good time. Yep.
I'm gonna hop out of here. I'll be right back because the chipmunk voices are starting to get disturbing at this point. So I'll be right back.
Nobody cares about our fantasy team anyway.
Matt Hamilton, everyone.
Okay, so go Falcons, go Birds, the better Birds, the best Birds.
All right, can I while we're waiting for Hammy to come back in, I'm gonna ask you this question. So we get to the situation where, okay, let's say the Falcons win this football game, and you have a chance for both teams. You have a chance for both teams to be 7-10, which would in the eventuality, or if there is a loss, the Chiefs could fly up to 8th on the board, or you could ensure yourself the 10th pick by the Falcons winning that game in week 18. So are you rooting for the Saints in week 18 and the Chiefs to lose, or would you rather just, hey, Falcons win this football game so we can move on and the Chiefs get the 10th pick? Are you risking it for the biscuit, or are you just what are you taking?
I think I'm understanding what you're saying here. If the Falcons win this game next week and the Saints and Falcons play, if the Falcons win, they are picking later than the Chiefs no matter what. If the Saints win, but the Chiefs also win, then the Chiefs would be picking later than the Saints and the Falcons, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're making a battle for the losses. We're meeting the Raiders at midfield to see who can lose better. We want that 8th pick. We are going out there and we are throwing left-handed, but not good at it. We are doing our best Kyle Bowler. We are going to tackle like a group of 5 team trying to play peak Georgia. We are going out there with every chance trying to lose this football game. We are begging for a mercy rule.
Okay. Alvin, Simon, and Theodore are back together again. Hamilton, do we still sound ridiculous?
Yes, but you don't sound like chipmunks anymore.
Okay, that's good.
That was a first. I've never seen that before. That was I wish I could have recorded and played it back for you, because especially on the Bijan touchdown run, Kent, that was you went up a couple octaves even
Yeah.
more. So
Okay.
that's literally what it sounded like the whole time. Is
I do really wish we could have heard it now. Not gonna lie.
It was unbelievable.
We so we talked a few weeks ago about like maybe looking at like some of these teams that are having offensive success, what they do well, things that we'd like to introduce to the Chiefs offense. We're kind of abbreviating that a little bit here. And just looking at some offensive coaching candidates for the Chiefs. We're anticipating, hoping, wondering if there are going to be at least some level of change to the offensive coaching staff. Andy Reid has been very slow to adapt historically, but to say he's never adapted is not true. Think about the first year in Kansas City. He brings in Chris Alt, a Nevada head coach to run, to help educate, learn the pistol offense. There have been introductions of new ideas to him. I mean, he'll steal from the 1946 Rose Bowl or whatever, right? But, I think this team is in need of some evolution offensively if they're going to keep up with the times. And so the hope is that there will be a fresh voice that gets introduced here. And by the way, Andy Reid had some interest in Liam Cohen a few years ago too. Might be plucking from Liam Cohen's tree now. But there are still some players out there that I think, or some coaches, that makes some sense to try to introduce here. We're going to go through Hamilton and Maddie Lane's lists. I was not able to produce it because I was driving to Ohio all day. But I think probably some crossover with some stuff that me and Maddie have talked about in the past. But Hamilton, why don't you give me a name? Give me one of your prime candidates here that you'd like to see in Kansas City.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll get this part out of the way because I think we all agree, like if Mike McDaniel is available, I think he's the one that everybody would love to get their hands on. But let's say he's off the board. Can I throw out a couple names?
Yeah, just a quick question. Yeah, you can. We're talking
Okay.
about a head coach that might get fired. I have an extra one on here on the same mold. So, and like those guys obviously have to get fired for that to happen. What would you guys think if Kevin Stefanski gets fired from the Browns job?
Ooh.
That'd definitely be somebody I'm interested in. I do think he's a good coach that's, for the most part, that has been dealt really crappy hands. Yeah, I'd be all for that.
I would hate that idea. Also, I just looking him up again, just kind of looking at some of his history to see if there's been any even hint of crossover. I mean, I guess he was a Vikings lifer, basically, in his entire NFL career beforehand. I wouldn't hate that idea.
Because he's definitely got his own thing. Like he's got his own generals. He's not even like you can't even call him like a Shanny McVay guy, although like some of his concepts like kind of mirror a little bit of what they do. Like that's not where he got it from, right? Like he is kind of his own guy, which is clearly outside of anything. So just yeah. That's more of where it's coming from. And now he was my other like head coach. Like, hey, if this guy has to get fired to even be in the running with Mike McDaniel, so that's the only reason I wanted to jump in there with him because like I think those guys are probably in a different realm. If either get fired, they are going to have a lot of people calling them up to be offensive coordinators, I think, pretty quick. Now, Chiefs are a good spot for those guys if they want to come back in and try to build back, like to be another shot and head coach. But those two guys, I do think you would have to put pretty high up there on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was so I was thinking one name I was with this performance tonight and the way they've been playing down the stretch, Zach Robinson was somebody that was interesting to me because again, if you want to dip your toes into the McVay pool, you're talking about pistol and incorporating that into the offense. Like that's something he's done, pretty well there in Atlanta, just dealing with some issues at quarterback there and not, having a couple of good skill players, not a lot of depth has been, an issue for them, but he's an intriguing.
There's an analytics piece to it too, right? Because spend some time at PFF. Like there's you want to talk about different perspectives, different voices. Like, I think that might be an interesting little tweak there. Although,
Yeah, and it was looking like they were destined to that whole staff was destined to get cleaned out a couple of weeks ago, and now they're
Yeah.
playing their way into another year potentially. So I don't know how realistic that one's going to be at this point. Unfortunately, because that was an intriguing one to me. That was in the more realistic realm. I do want to throw out another head coach, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this because I could see this going a
Head
few
coach.
different ways with you guys. But the reason I could see is because he only had a really brief stint as an offensive coordinator 10 years ago. So I don't know if he would necessarily jump right from head coach to being like a full-on play caller somewhere. But again, you want to talk about some McVay roots in there and dipping your toes into that. What about Zach Taylor?
He's actually on my list for a guy that, like, if he were to be fired, yeah, he would be. So it's again the same thing. He would be my consideration. I don't think he would be as high as some of the other guys that I think we're going to talk about, just because what is what is Zach Taylor's offense without Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow? And like, he'll have, a version of Joe Burrow, but like, what is his offense without them? I've never watched Cincy and been like, wow, this scheme is really doing it for me. Right? Like, we're going to run a bunch of 9-8-9 concepts and you can't cover us because we're really good. Like,
hey,
okay, that's cool.
To be fair, he had a sixth O lineman running a hitch wide open last week.
Yeah. So maybe he'll go work for Ben Johnson. But yeah.
I think I think the Stefanski kind of fits a little bit in that mold too. Like, and I asked the question, like, offensively, where's the innovation with Zach Taylor? And it's a lot of it is so much Joe Burrow, and a lot of it is so much adaptability to Joe Burrow. And in a different way, Stefanski has not, I don't know if he's no one elevated Deshaun, but he completely kind of went entirely away from what he had done historically, kind of under center, wide zone, and then introduced a lot of gun concepts to try to adapt to Deshaun. And both of those guys, I think, since those betting on the expensive quarterback, I don't know if either of them have, really shown as like innovative play callers. By the way, do you guys know how old Kevin Stefanski is without looking? Because I looked it up. Because do you know how old he is? Guess.
I would guess like 42.
I was gonna say in the 40s. Give me 45.
43 years old, but that beard and being in Cleveland that long, I think if you could have told me 53, and I think I would have believed it. That's all. But
yeah.
Anyway,
but I was gonna say too with the Zach Taylor, like if he kind of got away from himself and his roots, I think, as it's like kind of played out in Cincinnati. Because if you really go back and look at 2021, the offense looks very different from what it looks like now. And I don't know if it was bending too much into Joe and what Burrow was comfortable with, but there was a lot more under center. There was a lot more off the run game. There was a lot more motion. Like
motion is a big one.
It felt way more like you were watching a Shanahan McVay offense than it does now, where you're right, Maddie. It's just like, oh, we have these great players. We have Joe Burrow. Like, let's just, let it rip. Like it's interesting how it's evolved, and I don't think it's evolved in a good way. So maybe, I look at that too. Like maybe he does get back to some of his roots a little bit if he's removed from that situation. But it was an interesting one for me to throw out there and think about, because again, if we're looking at checking some boxes, different perspectives, a little bit of that sprinkling of McVay, Shanahan, somebody who has had some success, and somebody who may not just automatically become an offensive coordinator, because there's other guys. I think another name to watch, but I don't think would be attainable for the Chiefs as far as somebody maybe being available that we're not considering right now is Matt LaFleur, but I don't think that's somebody you're getting your hands on if you're the Chiefs, because I think he might even get another head coaching job somewhere if the Packers decide they want to move on from him.
I would also I think one thing, the interesting theme with the former head coach idea, I think it's fun, because I'd be curious to see how that dynamic plays out between Andy, because like Andy and a former head coach, and I know Matt Nagy has, but like, article today talk about the closeness and the dynamic with those two, right? And just I don't know if Matt Nagy is, a strong enough voice even as a former head coach to really spit that out. But
I think it's different too when you go from like he was in that role under Andy before and he's going back to it versus coming from somewhere else, and
But it'd be cool to get a stronger voice like that, in Kansas City to come in and provide that input, because like a little push pull is probably a good thing for Kansas City right now, and they need fresh ideas to make that happen too. So I'd be fun. Can I throw a wild former head coach at you?
Let's do it.
And I'm not. This is not me. This is not me advocating for this, by the way. John Gruden. That would be. I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I am not advocating for it at all. But if you told me that like the closest thing we're getting to like an outside voice was just John Gruden coming here, I wouldn't be like, that's like that. It's not
so same. We're like,
I
we're
know,
here in such the same family. We're like, you're like trying to date a second cousin right now and trying to tell me that it's okay.
I know, but like, I'm just telling you, like, there's a part of me that worries that's what it's gonna be. It's like, look, hey, John,
we're not blood related, I swear.
I'm not.
He's only been arrested 3 times, I guess. Too.
I'm just telling you, like, there's like, I think I would classify it as fear. There is a fear that it's just like, let's bring in John Gruden.
I mean,
he's once removed. It's fine. Yeah.
Nothing would change. But that's like my fear. That's like I had the thought. I was like, oh no.
I think he's happy.
Fresh idea, former head coach. Like,
I can't imagine him being under anybody either. Like, if he's gonna come back and do this, he's running the show to me. Like,
that's not happening.
No,
that's never happening again.
Yeah.
Which maybe he knows, but that was like my like, oh no, kind of like, uh-oh. You guys,
all right.
Maddie Lane, you got some ideas here?
Yeah, I do, and I got categories. You guys can pick a category, and we'll do some names from there. But first, I can say, when I went through this, like this is how I looked at. If you're looking at an offensive coordinator, you probably can't hire an offensive coordinator unless it's coming from a team that's firing them, right? You got to look at position coaches. And even when I was doing this, I was really trying to find guys that weren't even necessarily position coaches. So if I'm not mistaken, like even that, you can't just jump ship from QB coach to QB coach if you're not even going offensive coordinator without a team approving if you're under contract. So I was trying to go all over the places. So would you guys like some younger guys that are, I think, on the rise? Would you want a failed offensive coordinator that deserves another chance? Or would you like a guy that's a run game coordinator that might be willing to instill a different mentality to the team?
Ooh, these are all intriguing categories. I'm going to go with failed OC that deserves another chance. Let's start there.
I would go first to Thomas Brown. I believe he's in New England right now coaching the tight ends, and he is one of their pass game coordinators. Obviously, that's still Josh McDaniels' offense, but he's getting some stuff in there. And I think it depends on who you ask and when you ask them about Thomas Brown, what their thoughts of him an offensive coordinator are going to be. Being in Carolina, that team, when he was the offensive coordinator, was not his fault that the offense sucked. That was not his offense. That was not his fault. And then even when he went to the Bears, like they were a functionally better team once he took over. It's still not great, but they were a functionally better team. And this is a guy that, so he's currently the tight ends coach and the New England Patriots passing game coordinator. He was the Bears interim head coach, an offensive coordinator before that, Carolina. And then he was a running back coach with the Los Angeles Rams, where he is getting some of that Sean McVay rub that we are always coveting right now in the NFL. So he's just, I think if you want a guy that has offensive coordinator experience that is called plays, not that you're going to do that in Kansas City, but he's probably the first guy that like I'm dialing up. If I want someone who has been in that spot, if I want somebody that probably can stand on his own 2 feet and say, hey, these are my ideas. These are the plays that I think are good. And you get a guy that has had multiple different coaching like staffs and like offenses he's been under now with Steichen there, or not Steichen, but Frank Reich there in Carolina. And then you had him with Sean McVay for a while. Now Josh McDaniels, he's seen a little bit of everything. So he might be a fun guy to slip in there and see what he can bring to this Chiefs team.
I like that one. That's a good one. And yeah, I mean, I know he was like super revered when he was on that Rams staff as a running backs coach too, like, which is why he got these opportunities. And yeah, situation. I mean, there's nothing that matters more as a coach than situation and the personnel that you have. And he was stuck in some not so great situations in those last 2 stops. So I like that one. And again, especially knowing what the role would be, that it's not just all on, he's not running the offense, but he's somebody who can come and bring some fresh ideas and have a voice in that room. I like that one.
So what category was that under Maddie?
That was a failed offensive coordinator with another chance.
Okay. So I do have one for this. I didn't get a chance to do the full. I didn't get a chance to do
You're
the full
good.
kind of. All right. So let's say McDaniels doesn't save his job, but McDaniels has an opportunity elsewhere. He feels like he wants to be the actual play caller. He wants more creative control. And so he's probably not going to take a job with Kansas City. Okay. What about his offensive coordinator, Frank Smith? So Frank Smith has a pretty diversified background too. So he's spent since 2022, he's been with Miami. So he's been learning a lot of the Mike McDaniel run concepts that we've kind of seen there. He also has time with Sean Payton and the Sean Payton tree, right? So he's got a diversified background here. He's been a run game coordinator. He was a run game coordinator for the Chargers in 2021. He's an offensive coordinator now since 2022 for the Dolphins. Like I said, he's been with Sean Payton, a small stint with the Bears for 3 years. And here's the fun one. He coached for Gruden. He coached under
what
Gruden.
Is this Gruden obsession?
It's
now?
more just it's the joke of the tree stays the tree, and like there's always a connection to the tree. And so like I know Gruden and Andy aren't technically on, Andy's not, or Gruden's not under Andy's tree, but they're on the same Holmgren vine. And so like, Gruden can vouch for Frank Smith. There's a little bit of a familiarity with some of the nomenclature, all that kind of stuff, right? So I don't know. And with a more run game focused background, Frank Smith seems like a guy like, hey, if you can't get Mike McDaniel, maybe get a guy that's been working with Mike McDaniel the last 4 years with some of these fun things and who has a diversified background, especially in the run game. So there's just another failed offensive coordinator that, deserves another shot or whatever. So
it's interesting. Can I throw one thing out there just that does not pertain to this at all, which is just stunning right now to me?
Did the Falcons return a touchdown?
Not yet, but so Matthew Stafford was plus 350 to win the MVP before this game, or minus 350 to win MVP before this game started. We're at half. Drake May is minus 340. Has taken over. It completely flipped on its head, and this game isn't even over yet. Sorry, just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know if I've ever seen like a mid-game swing like that.
If Stafford comes back and wins the game,
oh, it'll flip right back, I would think. But
so maybe take it now.
Yeah.
Jump on the game. I don't know. Good thought.
So
I like it. Maddie, what was the other category? What do you got?
Yeah, we got some young guys now. We'll go through these a little bit. I'm trying to get through a couple of these guys. I mean, I think we've got way too far into the coaching search, and we haven't mentioned like every Chiefs fan's favorite person to go after. And I think, if we're all going to split hairs, if you're not getting like the Mike McDaniel or somebody like that, give me, Nate Scheelhaus, the passing game coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. He seems to be next up in the McVay tree. And like, hey, listen, they're shooting straight from the McVay tree right now. There's not a whole lot of misses coming out of that. When they say this guy's the next guy up out of that tree, they're kind of hitting. And, you know, I mean, you look at this guy here, he's been their pass game coordinator the past couple of years. Go back and watch those Iowa State offenses where they're not dealing with the best offensive skill talent that you're going to get. And he's got these wide receivers playing ball. He's got these very small, very feisty, very lunch pail-esque quarterbacks coming in there, tearing up the Big 12. Like, he got that team going there at Iowa State there for a while. And so I just think that he's a guy who went to Rockers when he was playing high school ball. He's the guy that if you're going to put a 1A on, especially a younger coach that you want to keep in-house for a while, he's a guy you could go for. I am curious for him. Would he be willing to come over for just a QB coach position because he's currently not even that? Or would you have to go straight to OC? Probably straight to OC given the hype that's building, but still, I think he's a name that a lot of people know. He's right up there at the top. I don't know if you guys have any big takes on him one way or the other. This is just kind of, we know Andy was intrigued by Liam Cohen, who was a McVay-ish guy at one point in time. Here's another one that's now a hot and up-and-coming name. Maybe this is like the perfect time to try to get him in and not be a year late like they were on Cohen initially.
Yeah, I mean, he's somebody that, oh, sorry.
No,
we talked about this, I think, off air last time, but he's somebody I've been very familiar with for a long time since he was in high school. Because when I was a student coach on Missouri staff, and we used to host recruits, he was one of them. That was we really wanted pretty badly to play quarterback for us. Ended up going to Illinois, but you know, that intelligence shone through. That was a big reason why we wanted him, his football mind, from even back then. So he's somebody I always, whenever you're recruiting somebody that hard, you always keep tabs on him as they go. And he has risen up the ranks, and it's been a super, super impressive start to his career. And it's clear the Rams think the absolute world of him. And he's somebody that's going to be going places. So love that one.
Some people thought he would be a candidate for the Iowa State head coaching position. Put it that way. That's how highly regarded Iowa State came away from him as well. So just, I mean, yeah, like that is absolutely a name on the rise here for sure.
All right, I got three more. I'll just whip through these real quick. They'll have some connections to some various Chiefs people that might matter this. Spencer Whipple, he is currently the Jags QB coach. I think this is his first year doing that, but he's had some success here recently. Before being that, he's been with Liam Cohen now for a couple years. He's the QB coach for the Jags right now. They have obviously turned it around. Before that, he was actually in Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury. And don't focus necessarily on the team being good, but he spent time with Cliff Kingsbury, a coach that we do know that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have some level of relationship with and have talked to. And he was the pass game coordinator and wide receiver coach there with the Arizona Cardinals. So he is just a guy that I think would be willing to at least keep a name on if you're looking for a younger guy that you think could be ready to take another step. Similar note, Cam Turner is currently the Indianapolis Colts QB coach. He was with Arizona and Cliff Kingsbury before that as a QB pass game coordinator. He also was in Carolina when Cam Newton was there as an assistant QB coach. But do you know who the head coach was? Ron Rivera. You know who's good friends with Andy Reid? Ron Rivera. So there's just a couple guys out there that I think.
Why is it crazy when you throw Ron Rivera connections out, but I mentioned John Gruden's name like they didn't both serve as John Gruden has more rings than Ron Rivera? Just saying.
Because
it just comes off as a sick obsession with John Gruden. I think that's why. There's something like twisted behind it. I can't explain it, but yeah.
I think the difference is because if it would be okay, one thing if I was saying, oh, Ron Rivera should come be the offensive coordinator, and then going back to the connections to Ron Rivera. The difference was I wasn't trying to date my second cousin first and then say, oh, they can vouch for it. I think that's the difference.
That's it. Yeah. Well said.
All right, close the list.
I have a bunch more that we can talk about at a later date, but we've got a lot of coaching concepts here. Right now, rapid fire, Matt Hamilton, who is the one person, can't be a guy that has to be fired. It had to be somebody that is, could be available to be offensive coordinator right now that you would want the Chiefs to hire as an offensive coordinator next year.
Oh, man. I really like the Thomas Brown idea because I think he checks a lot of those boxes that you're looking for. I think that's a great name. Again, brings you some of that McVay pedigree, but also some other schools of thought from other places. He's a strong personality in the room, somebody who's been there, done that. Yeah, I like that one.
John Gruden.
I knew. Yep.
Do Gruden.
Shieldhouse would be fun. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'd be stunned. I'd be stunned if that materializes, if I'm being honest.
I think so.
But
it sucks.
I think
those would be my 1-2. Yeah, I think those two guys would be my 1-2. I think, next up after them would be, I think Whipple would be the guy I like the most next. The problem is I haven't watched enough to know what is maybe him versus what is just Liam Cohen, because I think that's what a lot of what he's been doing. But he was, like I said, with Cliff Kingsbury at some point in time too. So you at least have some level of like, he's worked with somebody that, Patrick Mahomes knows very well. But I think Thomas Brown and then Shieldhouse would be my obvious 1-2.
Yeah, and I can tell you, like, Liam Cohen, not that this is a surprise, but is very, very heavily involved in the intricacies of what's going on with Trevor Lawrence, the on a mechanical level. It's not just like scheme stuff and running the offense, but like he is. But again, even just being around that and you're seeing the difference it's made, like you learn a lot from that and pick up a lot from that, and it's it's not invaluable. It doesn't discredit Whipple by any means, but just so we know, like Liam Cohen is all over the details with Trevor and has been on his ass since training camp, from what I saw and picked up during our travels down there.
We wanted to. That's a good list, Maddie. I know I've seen a screenshot of a couple more of you, a couple more of them too. That was fun, guys. I could have kept going. It's dreaming a little bit. It's a little bit of it's dreaming for something different. The Chiefs will be dreaming for something different in the NFL draft this year, and we thought we'd bring back a little segment that we've done with Matt Hamilton in the past. We thought about doing it like a month ago, but we fought it. But Hammy's burning questions. Hammy's going to throw a few questions at us, and we are going to see what we can do with those. And so, Hammy, the floor is yours, my friend.
And I think the biggest thing right now, and we kind of touched on this a month or so back when we still thought the Chiefs would be picking, relatively towards the end of the first round. But now that it's looking like, there's a real good shot this thing is in the top 10, there are a lot of possibilities that are going to be open now in this draft. And with the studying that you guys have done, who is that player, again, like within reason, but again, pretty much everybody's within reason when you're picking in the top 10. Who's the guy that you guys just really have your eye on right now and are kind of salivating over in this draft that the Chiefs can actually get? Yeah.
The whole board's open.
This is why you have that battle against the Raiders who can lose, because I think picking 8th is way different than picking 10th in this draft. Yep. There are a lot of scenarios where pick 10 to pick 11 leave me feeling a little sad, and whereas pick 8 can leave you feeling pretty good. I think right now, and this will probably change because I don't think he's a perfect player. I don't think he is like a generational player at this level. And like in other years in stronger draft classes, especially even at this position, he might be going, 5-6 picks later than this and might be more of a mid-teens guy. But for this draft, it's Carnell Tate, the wide receiver at Ohio State for me. When I watch him, I can see very clearly how he drops into this Chiefs offense, how he makes them better, where they would use him. And then I also think he's just a lot better. He's not Jeremiah Smith, and I think that makes people think he's not as good as he actually is. So, like, when you remove the thing that you're not watching, like Julio Jones reincarnated as an Ohio State receiver, and just focus on who Carnell Tate is by himself, he really pops to me. I think the route running, the hands, the size is all stuff the Chiefs do not have at all at the wide receiver position, and he could just do a lot for them if you were able to snag him in, the back end of the top 10 there.
It's like we talk about it. You grab somebody like that, it's going to make it should make everybody else in that receiver room better too. Because there are pieces there that are very good, but that's kind of what they're missing. That guy that can just, do it all, have some size, take over a game. And I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, that makes that offense all of a sudden super freaking exciting again. Love that.
Tate's probably my answer. I think he's probably my answer. Jeremiah Love is a luxury pick a little bit. And I do think the Chiefs will put themselves in a situation where they can take best player available wherever they're picking. Like that is something that Brett Veach tries to accomplish every single year. They're going to try to have a roll the ball out and play roster ready before the draft even starts. Which I think if you're picking 8th, if that is truly the case, like you just sit there and take the best player available, and there's a chance it's Jeremiah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame. And this is a luxury pick, but if you're talking about, first off, the hit rate on early running backs is pretty high. Like when you are talking about these kind of talents and these kind of players, it's a safe pick. It is typically a pretty high floor pick. You may not be getting a second contract out of it. You may not be willing to pay a second contract, but Jeremiah Love is everything he's everything you want in a running back, and he's everything you want in a feature back. And this is something that the Chiefs, he's got incredible vision. As we watch Bijan Robinson continue to just absolutely own. It's scary territory. The Falcons might get up 28-3 on the Rams. That's not good. But no, Jeremiah Love, I don't know if he's not a Bijan level talent. And there's some concerns with the knee injury, which might actually like put him more in a range that the Chiefs might be able to draft. But size, athleticism, vision, long speed, ability after the catch.
He's not Bijan, but he might be right after him before others. So I mean, like you're not talking about like I don't think it's like another stratosphere.
That's okay.
That's all.
No,
I think he's behind Bijan. Yeah. If I'm mapping out guys over the past 10, 15 years, I think Jeremiah Love probably falls right behind Bijan for me, ahead of Ashton Genty. So like,
he's ahead of Genty for me for sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying kind of back to a couple of these recent drafts too and try to figure out who I'd have him. I'd have him over, but yeah, I mean it's Jeremiah Love,
and that's what's so exciting about this is I think either one of those players, like just adding that one player fundamentally changes this offense, and it might legitimately be all you need, because if this offensive line is healthy, I think I like what they've done to the offensive line, assuming everybody can get healthy again. You add in one of those two guys, like this offense is loaded, with or without Kelsey, which is another story we'll, I'm sure, dig into plenty of this offseason. But again, why we're freaking out over one or two pick slots, like this is why, like, you can get a player at this point that can really just jumpstart this thing and make this the best offense in the NFL again, because they're not that far off. It's really add a player of this caliber and they're right back there.
I will say I think the best case scenario is Tate over Love, I think, because it's a roster construction question, but I think the Chiefs can get significantly better at running back in free agency. I don't think the Chiefs can get significantly better at wide receiver in free agency. And so if you're looking at it like that, like, and I'm not saying that, and look, like Tyler Algier on this team makes them a better football team. And like that's the easy low-hanging fruit name with the BYU connection, and maybe
has he ever played for John Gruden?
He has not. He has not. Unfortunately. But
I think with Jeremiah Love, you got to change more too. Well, yeah, but you got to change, and you got to change what you have to like make to. Not for him to be good, but for to like fully weaponize and get the most out of top 10 pick running back, you have to not build your entire offense around it, but you got to do a lot more based around your running back than the Chiefs currently do. And I know we all want them to change some stuff and incorporate the run game more, but even in the most perfect world, is an Andy Reid team ever going to be centered around a running back enough to be really worth it? I don't think so. I don't know. I'm not mad if they take Love. I would feel a lot better. You tell me who the Chiefs offensive coordinator is, and I can tell you how much excited more I am for Jeremiah Love or not, right? Did they bring in another pass game guy? Probably not. Or do they go hire some guy that's known to build a run game? Like, I don't know, Hank Fraley from the Detroit Lions, their run game coordinator. Did they give him an offensive coordinator job? And then, okay, now you have my attention if you're going to go after a Jeremiah Love. That's kind of where my mind goes to the running back.
That's another good name, by the way. And some Andy Reid
He's on the list.
Connective tissue there. Yeah. That's good.
You know what, Amy? We've been going at this an hour. We'll leave more human. We'll leave more burning questions for the future, because we got so much, guys. Yeah. It's still 2025. There's 2 more days left in 2025. We got time, but we still gotta get a little draft talk in there here and there. And actually, that's why we're gonna close this thing out. We're gonna give Maddie Lane a couple minutes. Springer, do you have music? Do you got the music for this one? You can just play. I mean, and if you don't, that's fine.
Yeah, it absolutely does not have to. We're going to be quick. Again, have had a lot of bowl games. We haven't had a ton of bowl games since we were last recorded Friday. Haven't had a lot of really good bowl games. So not a lot to choose from. And I'm sticking true to my idea that I'm only picking guys from the bowl games. So we are going to Houston for Tanner Koziel, the 6'7", 250-pound tight end who was putting LSU on their heels all game long. They could not stop him. He's been really good as a receiving tight end. But hey, with that frame, 6'7", 250, yeah, there's a little. He's not unwilling to block, but if you can get him to be a little bit more tenacious as a blocker, he's got enough size that he doesn't have to be bad at it. He doesn't have to be a terrible blocker. Not that he is now, but in the NFL level, it's a big step up. He's got the physical size to get better as a blocker, and then 6'7", moving the way he does, the catch radius, the ability to be a red zone weapon. I do think he is a guy to keep your eye on if you are not a fan of taking an early tight end, but looking for somebody in the middle of day two. Tanner Koziel out of Houston had a fantastic bowl game, and I think that stock's on the way up a little bit here.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fun one, and like he's kind of had he's had a fun kind of rise. This music's killing me. He's had a fun rise to Houston, right? Like, and like things didn't work out as well as in Wisconsin as he'd like, and he comes out and balls out at Houston, and good for him after a really successful career at Ball State. So that is a fun prospect to watch. Matty Hamilton, or Matty Lane is no longer on the clock. That music was tremendous, Springer. Couldn't have asked for anything better. 24-3, the Falcons are beating the Los Angeles Rams, and things are getting very, very interesting. But that is going to do it for this episode of the KC Laboratory, and perhaps the last Matter Day. Who knows? But thank you all so much for listening, watching, supporting. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later.
Put that music.